thing.
Topic Tuesday. I've been doing it in the background every time, and Bryn has never noticed.
I'm, okay, without the hair dye, I am blonde. Look at that. Okay. So, yeah. Welcome to Topic Tuesday. Of course, if you haven't ate, you haven't drank, nothing like that, I'm going to try and scoot up, though I can show off my outfit. Because I like to show off. I'm getting skinnier, my boobs are growing, got my dog tags.
She's also getting adorable fashion sense, because, like, all of the people around her are like, hi, I don't fit this anymore, you will, take it.
Like, even, like, my boss and stuff like that is just like, hey, do you want a new dress? Sure. Next day, here, I went through all of my closet, here's, like, an entire duffel bag full of clothes. I have never had this many clothes in my life. It's fantastic.
That sure is flavor.
That is definitely a flavor.
I added 3 different types of Gatorade.
You just sounded like the most teenage boy.
Yay, it's working. That snort physically hurt.
Welcome to second puberty. Okay, so, yeah, for those in the Discord server, a heads up, there will be some restructures to the server coming soon. There have been some things going on in the server, and we're going to try and get some stuff changed. That way the server is, again, a very, very safe, welcoming place to come through, and no one feels any anxiety coming in. That's just because there have been some heavy stuff going on.
No.
Oh, no, Lilith, that's okay. So yeah, that's the only Tran-related update. So, want to get started on today's topic?
Yeah.
Sweet. So, today's topic actually started thanks to Wilbur, a troll that came into last week's chat. So, hi. Wilbur, if you're watching this, I just want you to know, I don't hate you. I hope you're doing okay. And I mean this, honestly. I hope you're doing okay. And I hope that things start going better for you. I hope everything with Dead Claw works out. I hope you're able to get some better perspective. So yeah. I hope everything works out for you, my dude. I hope one day you and I can have a dialogue. I hope we can become friends one day, even.
Now, I'll be the one who's just a touch mean, but affectionately, I hope you find better things to do than trolling streams.
Right. So yeah, thank you, Wilbur. So what this topic came up about was whenever Wilbur first started to gain access into the... I had to adjust my belt. First tried to get access into the Tran. And I'm gonna say they, because I don't, just in case they are trans, I don't want to invalidate them. What happened is they had asked for access into the server, and I had gone through their online history, and I had seen several things that were transphobic, homophobic, you know, just kind of sexist and weird, and so I denied them. And one of their responses was, I can't be transphobic because I am trans. And it's like, my dude, that is not how that works. That's like saying you can't be racist just because you happen to be a person of color, or from some other country, or you can't be homophobic because you're gay, or, like, that's not...
Internalized.
We're all humans, my dude. Like,
we're all living in a bigoted society. We are going to absorb some of that background radiation.
So yeah, that's how we got to today's topic. So we're going to be talking about transphobia in the trans community specifically, but also in the LGBT community at large, where that comes from, why, ways we can work against it, why we need to work against it, and just stuff like that. So, Abby, would you like to make any opening statements?
Yeah, my kind of opening statement is like, that a lot of TERFs, trans-exclusive radical feminists, which radical feminism is not actual feminism, it's something mixed up and mashed up, it's gross. But a lot of them are in the closet trans folk, and their hatred of trans people is, on some level, fed by their fear of acknowledging that, and fear of having to deal with it. Because I'm not phrasing it like that to be mean to them. Dealing with like all of these identity issues is hard as heck. It sucks for the first while, for the most part. There's some people for whom it doesn't, and those souls are very lucky.
I remember, I'm sure Abby remembers this. I remember there was one time in my life where I was very, very against flamboyant gay men. I would go on about how annoying they are, how they give such a bad name to the LGBT community, and all this other stuff. And my dislike of flamboyant gay men originated with my budding sexuality and me believing that I was a gay man for a little while. I quickly realized I was pan. Because, like, I like anyone, and as long as they can consent, we can have fun.
And eventually realized you weren't a man either.
And eventually realized I wasn't a guy. So I would see flamboyant gay men walking around, being themselves, wearing women's clothing and all this other stuff. And I just got jealous of them. I was envious. I was like, I wish I could do that, but I don't have the bravery to. I don't have the courage to. And then I would find reasons to justify it. Like, oh, I shouldn't want to do that. That's stupid. That's sexist. That is culturally appropriating feminist stuff. Which it's not. That's just not how any of this works. So, yeah, I kind of had a chip on my shoulder for a while about feminine gay men, about flamboyant people. Over time, as I realized more and more that I don't just like guys, and that I did enjoy wearing feminine stuff, and it was totally okay, I started hating on them less and less. And then once I realized, oh shoot, I'm a trans chick, it's like a flip switched, and like suddenly I just understood all of it. So it's like, I had all these misconceptions, all these weird ideas, but I was less focused on them. And then I thought about, oh god, I'm a trans woman, and then suddenly I just understood all of it. You know that, like, gif where it's like, that's basically what my head was like. I was like, oh god, I suddenly understand everything.
I'm thinking of like the gif where it's like some places a flower on the cat's head, and they're like, and it's like the universe is like, oh, why are we here?
Yes, very, very much like that.
Except in your case, it was a dress.
So yeah, and I know it's probably similar with TERFs and with especially True Scum.
Yes, because the true transphobia inside the trans community, like fully encapsulated in the trans community, that is TransMeds.
Yeah. Now, Abby, I know there's going to be a lot of people coming to be like, no, that's not what TransMeds is. And I pay close attention to a lot of groups online. I follow a lot of alt-right groups and forums and whatnot. Keep an eye on them. I don't support them. I don't follow them. Don't believe any of it. It is all stupid. But recently, while following some of the True Scum and TransMed stuff, I've noticed there's actually been a push from the trans medicalist community to try and distance themselves from True Scum's trying to say that they're totally different things. What do you think about that?
Honestly, that push is probably not going to get them anywhere, because my entire online career, because I've been chronically online since I was a teenager, they have been synonymous. Since I was first aware they existed, they were synonymous. And this is like, goodness, 8 years ago? 8 or 9 years ago? So any push to try and distance themselves from that label, which is, oh, hi!
Hey, Gwen.
But any push to distance themselves from the True Scum label is not going to work, because for the last several years, it has been synonymous, and people aren't going to differentiate, like, they aren't going to differentiate between the two when basically everybody defines them the same way. And, like, they would, I don't even know, like, how they would try to distance themselves from the True Scum label in, like, an effective way.
From what I've seen in my cursory overview of the various forums that I pay attention to, the way they're trying to do it is they're trying to say that transmedicalism is simply trying to get transgender stuff recognized by medical professionals, which that doesn't make any sense. It already is. Just like LGBT stuff in general is recognized, you know, if you're a gay man, you're a power bottom, you're going to have totally different health needs than a lesbian dominatrix who's running around in flannel with her... Anyway... Yeah, like...
I had to stop that daydream for a second there.
Abby. Any... My voice shut up! Anyway, we all have different health needs. And, like, me as a trans woman, you know, if Abby and I were twins and everything, but we were born with Abby, you know, being his AGAB and me being my AGAB, like, he and I, even if we were twins, would have totally different health needs as a trans man and a trans woman. Like, I freaking love bananas, cannot eat them as much. Same for carrots. I don't actually know a lot of the health needs of trans men.
Yeah, for me, it's mostly eating a lot of oatmeal and cutting out some fats. Because, like, a big thing about tea is that it raises your cholesterol, or it can raise your cholesterol. It can also thicken your blood a little bit. So, that's another reason I have to just be constantly drinking water. Just so much water.
Right.
So much water.
So there are different health needs for trans individuals than there are for cisgender people. And even then, whether you're a trans man or a trans woman will greatly impact those health needs. And even then, finding balance in between if you are non-binary or something else, you know, depending on what kind of HRT you're taking and all kinds of other stuff, there's a ton of different medical needs there. We are recognized. And I'm saying this as someone who works in a hospital, who has had transgender patients.
And I think some of the push, or not some push, some of the rhetoric coming from the TransMeds is stems from the diagnoses of gender dysphoria as like a mental condition, or like being trans is not a mental condition. Being trans is just a state of being, but gender dysphoria is the mental illness that can arise from just being that way.
Exactly.
And, like, that is the basis that some doctors use to treat trans folk and give them the HRT that we so desperately crave and need. And instead of thinking that's maybe just a shortcoming of the medical side of things, TransMeds kind of, instead of that, been like, well, if that's the case, then all of these trans folk who don't have as much dysphoria or especially not what could clinically be diagnosed as dysphoria, are just sucking up all the resources.
Right.
That's not true.
So that's a whole tangent I definitely want to go down with you. But I do feel I need to clarify how they're trying to push themselves away from the true scum label. Much in the same way that TERFs are trying to push themselves away from the radical feminist label and are just saying, I'm just a feminist. So basically what they're trying to differentiate is they're trying to say that true scum are harmful, that true scum are gatekeeping in a negative light as opposed to a somehow positive light. And part of their push is that, like, for instance, I'm going to pretend I was a TransMed for a second, okay?
Get into the acting.
Get into the acting? So,
Exactly.
Thank you, Gwen, exactly. So what Gwen has stated is more people using the resources normalizes them and makes them more available over time, which is absolutely correct.
Especially, like, this is a very quick sidebar. Stuff for autistic people works like this too. If neurotypical people start using the stuff that autistic people need to help them be, like, normal and survive day to day, then there is more of that stuff. Okay, tangent over.
Like fidget spinners.
Fidget spinners, weighted blankets. Weighted blankets.
Right?
Loved.
Okay, so, part of the thing is I'm going to pretend to be a TransMed for a second. Okay. I don't have a problem with non-binary trans people. I just don't think they should call themselves trans people. Because trans means that you're transforming your gender. You're going from one to another. Instead, they're saying that there's something else entirely separate. And you know, I don't have a problem with them. I just don't think they should be using our label. It's stupid. It makes no sense. It's stupid.
Yeah, because non-binary folk are still transforming themselves.
And here's my thing. Even if, which I'm not going to sit here and say there is no nuance to gender. There's a lot of nuance. But as it is at this time, in this space, on our beautiful planet that is dying, a non-binary person, a trans woman and a trans man, will all face a lot of the same discrimination. It's like saying that it's like if you had a Muslim individual and a Jewish individual both get hate crimed by someone. You wouldn't sit there and say that one of them is more or less deserving, unless you're a piece of crap, than the other of safety or anything. You would say, oh, both of these individuals got hate crime, both of these people are minorities in this area. You know?
They need similar protection.
They do. Which, if you don't believe that, you're a piece of crap. We're not arguing with that.
Yeah, no, that's just a blanket statement we're making.
Yeah, no, I don't argue with people like that. So, you want to go down that long tangent that's going to come from both of us about TransMeds and gatekeeping and...
Oh, yes.
Yes?
That's the tangent I've been preparing for.
Okay. So, some of you may not know, but I'm sure you do, because I've spoken about this at length. Whenever I first came out as trans, I had a lot of harassment from True Scum. There was an entire thread about me on the True Scum subreddit. I had people doxing me. I had people messaging people I know, being like, hey, did you know that this man claims to be trans but isn't really? And all this other stuff. It was pretty... You can ask Abby, it got to me pretty hard at first.
And then, like, after, like, a couple of days of, like, bad feels, a switch flipped and she was like, okay, you know what? This is actually the most hilarious thing that's ever happened to me.
Because that's my thing, like... And, like, Wilbur, I'm sorry. Same for all the trolls. But y'all don't know the level of abuse I went through Y'all don't know.
Y'all don't rate.
Y'all don't realize some of the stuff I've been through. Like, I can laugh just about everything short of legitimate actual torture off, and even then, I got myself used to waterboarding for fun because I have some weird freaking...
You had, well, had free time and a high pain tolerance.
Like...
He just wants to join the stream.
He does. He wants everyone to know that he is very, very handsome.
And also...
Buddy, you're gonna fall.
He's gonna flop right out of her lap.
But yeah, like, I just kind of laugh that stuff off. It doesn't get to me. If anything, it's content for the future. Because I suck at video editing, and right now I have to look at my face and my voice, which is very difficult for me because of dysphoria. But once I get to learning how to properly video edit and everything, I intend to make entire videos where I just take all of these comments, which I have an entire folder dedicated to, of these hateful posts and everything, and literally just make videos dissecting them. Not so much calling out the person, but being like, why would an individual with this kind of backstory have these views and opinions? How do these views and opinions affect them? What are they using these for? Much in the same way that whenever I first started coming out of being a stupid little Nazi, I would use that same criteria. And I use that same criteria now, because I still have sexist thoughts, racist thoughts, stupid thoughts. And whenever I have them, I dissect them. I think, why did I have this thought? What effect does it have on me? What effect would it have on society if I was to act on it? And so on and so forth, until I understand it implicitly. And then next time I have that kind of thought, I can just be like, heh, that's really stupid. Okay, so, my tangent's over. I could talk at length about True Scum, TransMeds, their stupidity. So I'm going to let you have the floor on this one, at least to start out.
Okay, so my thing about why I have such a beef with TransMeds is, one of their, like, big things about, like, you know, they're kind of, have a two big, like, you're not trans ifs. You're not really trans if you don't experience much dysphoria, and you're not really trans if you don't choose to, transition medically. Both of these are dumb. Because, one, I for one, am, like, happy for anyone who experiences, like, who realizes they are trans and doesn't have the dysphoria that goes along with it. That puts them automatically in a healthier state of mind. They enjoy life more. Honestly, it's probably harder for them to realize they are trans, because there's no, like, obvious glaring signpost, which even, like, admittedly, even most trans folk who do have dysphoria ignore it for years.
Yeah, like me.
Right.
Because one of the things that TransMeds jumped on me for was that I don't experience much dysphoria. And there is a huge difference to that pre versus post transition. Like, I experience way, way, way more dysphoria now than I ever did pre-transition. Period. But I am way happier now, too. I don't feel numb and dead. And they lumped on me for that. They were like, oh, you don't feel, any dysphoria besides, like, this or this? Man, you're not trans at all. You just sound like a cis boy who wants to wear dresses. Go away, you fetishist. Skull, you have claws, my baby. Okay.
Honestly, even if someone is a cis guy and just wants to put on some dresses and wear feminine clothes, or even, like, legit look like a girl, that's fine. It doesn't make them a fetishist.
Right.
It just means that they like doing that. It's fun, or, like, for them, like, it scratches some sort of, like, need, like, internally, inside their hearts.
Like, you have plenty of trans men who like to be feminine and get hated on for that. Which, by the way, there's a particular subreddit. I've talked about it on the Tran. I'm not going to say it here because I am trying to grow my channel and I don't want people to attack that subreddit.
That's rude.
But if you're on the Tran, you know the subreddit I'm probably talking about if you've been in the man cave. But there's an entire subreddit dedicated to trans men exploring their feminine side, exploring their femininity, dressing feminine, acting feminine, and exploring that because you can make your own femininity. Just, period. Like, part of me really, really wants to be, like, that small, ooh-woo, hyper-soft trans girl, but at the same time, part of me loves being the big, buff Viking girl that can launch my girlfriend up onto my shoulder and parade her around the parking lot. Because that's freaking awesome.
And would be, in
Hello.
fact, adorable. That's actually, like, I ended up not getting around to it yet. One of my transition goals is to get swole enough that I can potentially bridal carry any and all of my friends.
I'm okay with this.
But I've also, like, I haven't really talked about this on the trans server specifically, but I've talked about it more on Facebook with, like, the people I know in real life, which is weird, because usually that's the opposite. But, before transition, before I was out to most people, I've been out to Bryn for years and years and years.
Since we were teenagers.
Yeah, since we were teenagers. But, before, I did a lot of cosplay for Mabel Pines, because I love Gravity Falls, and I love Mabel's energy. And, she, like, to me, especially as, like, a young kid, or, yeah, a young kid, then into teen years and all that, it was, like, really, how to phrase things, but it was really, like, I'm a bit of a mimic sometimes, so, like, her energy was easy to match, and it was fun to match. And so it was, like, relating to Mabel Pines, especially, was a way of, like, helping me, like, deal with some of my, like, depression by focusing on thinking positively and being purposefully energetic. And, so when I started cosplay, I did Maple Pines quite a bit. And I've been open that I'm still probably going to do some Maple Pines cosplay, even now. I'm just basically going to be buff Mabel. And
I'm okay with being a Bender Gent Dipper.
a Bender Gent?
Gender bent.
Took a minute.
I'm blonde.
That's okay.
Even with the hair dye. Okay, so we keep getting off topic.
Yeah.
Okay, your rant.
So, yeah, so my rant, they, like, the other side of that is, where they are like, you're not really trans if you don't seek medical transition. Which is stupid on many levels, one of them being that right now, it is still super hard for a lot of people to begin medical transition, to get on medical transition, to start HRT, to get any sort of surgeries, anything. So for a lot of trans people, their best and mostly only option is to just make up, do what they can with clothing.
Yeah.
And some are okay with looking like their assigned gender, like, as long as people still use the pronouns they like. And that's another thing that TransMeds really don't like. But the thing is, societal expectations of masculinity and femininity are made up. They are, like, they still affect us because, like, money's made up and it still affects us. We still have to pay our freaking mortgage every month. But I patently hate the thought that people who have decided, you know what, this is fake and I don't want to do it. I don't want to do it. Like, I hate the thought of, like, people being mad. Like, you can't, like, decide that's not for you and set it down and walk away. That's evil somehow. Or, like, a thought crime or whatever. And, like, that's what always got me about TransMeds and TrueScums is it's like, guys, let people exist in a way they, like, find most comfortable. Okay?
And in a way that they're able.
Yeah, in the way that they're able. It's very difficult to meet their exacting standards, and to expect someone to meet the standards of a random stranger on the internet is just ridiculous.
And it's kind of classist and honestly a little racist.
Yeah, because, like, one thing is, like, because I haven't seen this as much lately now, but I saw it a lot in the past of TransMeds and TrueScum being very, like, oh, you're not passing yet. And similar to TERFs and other transphobes, like, being like, oh, you're slipping, I can see X, like, I can see your facial hair, or, oh, your bone structure, or whatever. And that ends up, like, being really extremely, like, rude. That's a spam risk, so I'm not answering it. To women of color, especially because the ideal of femininity that, like, the, dominant Western type culture is working off of is white femininity. And it's ridiculous to expect women of any other culture or of origin, or, like, any other, like, background to adhere to that when they just straight up, there's no reason for them to at all. And that, like, it ends up, like, even medicine is heavily based on a completely, like, Western white view. And it screws up a lot. Like, I have seen, especially online, just tons of, like, women of color who are like, I can't do these medicines because they don't work on me, because all of the test subjects or like, everybody who was in the trial runs was white, and nobody thought that it might affect a, like, black person or a Hispanic person differently. And especially, like, what you see with the Olympics, where they're trying to gatekeep and keep the trans women out by testing their testosterone levels and everything. Which, one, trans women are already going to have very low testosterone levels. Probably, yes, exactly. Most women don't meet all those standards of femininity, and it's ridiculous. But the testing was all based on, again, Western white women. And people, like, especially from, like, say, Africa, who have a, like, naturally higher testosterone level, just, they needed it, that's their evolutionary adaptation. A lot of cisgender women are getting yanked out of their events because of that. And that's ridiculous.
And that's a very common thing, is a lot of people bring up, oh, but what about the trans women's testosterone? And it's like, most trans women have less testosterone than cis women. Like, my testosterone is significantly lower than a cis woman's testosterone, because I am actually on a testosterone blocker, and a very powerful one at that. And then on top of that, I didn't produce as much testosterone as most guys even before all this, thank God. And I have to have my testosterone monitored and measured. Every 3 months I go to get a blood draw. It is expensive, and then I have to go to my doctor, and she has to look at the results and tell me about them and talk about them, even though they're the same. And that's expensive, and it's classist. It sucks. I got bills to pay.
And the insurance company is not helping.
Yeah, insurance sucks.
Which, like, it's like one tiny sidebar. America, get on the fucking universal healthcare stat. Sorry for the swear. Tangent.
As a medical worker, I support this greatly. It would help out my job a lot.
Yes, insurance is usually evil. It's ridiculous. I managed to get some good insurance because, like, I signed up through ACA, and because I got kicked off my mom's insurance this year because I turned 26, and I managed to find like a really good insurance with no deductible. Deductibles, I hate them with a burning passion.
Yeah.
I will smack if whoever came up with the deductibles. I am going to smack them one day. One day I'm going to smack them in the face. I'm going to march up to heaven, or I'd probably have to take a day trip to hell to do it.
That's okay. You can visit me while you're down there.
Yeah. Whoever invented deductibles is definitely in hell. But that's my own sidebar. But I actually kind of sidebarred so hard I have to give myself a second to get back. Oh no.
Okay, while you're doing that, I'm going to continue if that's okay.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so, yeah, a lot of these transmedicalists / true scum are very, very clear that if you refuse to get medical transition, HRT, anything, then you are not trans. Because, oh, why would a real trans person refuse that? And, like, there's a huge level of just complete mental gymnastics there. I'm going to use myself as an example. I want to transition. I love feeling the way I do now that I'm on estrogen. My anxiety is way down. My depression is way down. I haven't attempted suicide in a long time. I haven't thought about it in a long time. Like, I am so much healthier. I am so much better. And then to add on to that, I just feel more me. Even before I looked like a girl, whenever I first started HRT, I felt way better. Just as soon as I started taking it, after the first week or two, I just felt psychologically better. But it is expensive. And I am lucky that for the most part, I have the means to get it. Because even though my job only pays minimum wage, which sucks, it is a medical field job, so I do have some advantages. I know doctors. I know how to navigate things. I, get a lot of overtime.
Which, honestly, you should be getting paid, like, at least $10 more than you make.
I know.
Like, I make 17, and all I do is stand behind a little cart and hand out samples. I mean, it's more difficult than that, but that's the gist of it.
Yeah.
And I get 17 an hour for it. I feel like I earn that 17 an hour because it is a mentally and physically draining job. But what's more mentally and physically draining? Cleaning up operating rooms.
And transporting patients and helping get patients prepped for surgery and running to get tools and
refilling in the anesthesia stuff because you're the only person who can some days.
And a lot of other stuff that takes me way outside of my department and what I was trained for. Yeah, that's why I'm trying to get the Twitch and everything up off the ground and getting my Patreon successful. Every dollar helps, and I love you. And we are working on an online store. So
I've got one design ready and working on 2 more.
Yeah.
Gonna be making some shirts and probably like a cup.
And I am tossing ideas at him.
Yep.
But yeah, I'm lucky that I'm in the position where I can try to transition. A lot of people aren't. And even then, there have been times when I've thought I may have to go off HRT. Because bills pile up, medical expenses happen, cats get sick.
Yeah, I didn't talk about it much on the server, but our cat, Michael, got very sick a few weeks ago. We thought he was going to die.
Yeah.
We seriously, he was basically paralyzed and he didn't blink. He would occasionally twitch his ears like he heard you, but He didn't move. He didn't lift his head. I once set him on a thing that was a little bit too slippery, and he started to slide off, and he couldn't even prevent himself from sliding off of it. And I had to take him to first the emergency vet because this started on Sunday, and it had gotten worse by Monday. I took him to the regular vet on Monday. Thankfully, he recovered. He made a miraculous recovery. He really has. He's basically back to normal. He's maybe still a little low key compared to what he was before, but he is healthy. He is having fun. He's getting his exercise. He's eating.
I think part of that is he's starting to realize his age.
Yeah, he's not that old. He's 6, but in cat years that counts.
Yeah.
He's middle aged.
But yeah, there have been fears that Michael. Oh, he's right there.
Yeah.
Hi, buddy. Okay, we gave him a pet for you, Gwen. Love you. But yeah, there have been times when I've thought I may have to go off HRT. And it's made me cry and panic because it sucks. And I don't get a lot of dysphoria from my lower bits. If I was rich, heck yeah. Oh, I'm a millionaire? Yeah, chop it off. Give me a neo-vagina. I want that Gucci designer vagina.
Maybe become Futa, get both. What?
There are children that watch my stream.
They probably... Sorry.
Not much has changed from high school, has it?
Some things have. I just have gotten worse at remembering to keep the... I've gotten a little better at remembering to keep things up here. Not entirely, though.
Lord.
Yes, close your ears, children.
God. And sorry my hair is weird. I haven't washed it in a bit. So...
Sorry.
You're okay. So, I can't really afford bottom surgery. Even with insurance, I can't really afford it. Because it would take me out of work for a long time and, a lot of other stuff. And there's a lot more I could do with that money, you know? And it's the same for, hair treatment. I could pay for hair treatment. I could get rid of all this on my face. But getting it removed permanently is going to cost around $10,000 to $14,000. That's slightly less than the down payment Abby and I put on this house. And the property it sits on. And this was an abandoned house.
It was disgusting. It took us 2 months to make this house livable.
Yeah. And that was every minute I wasn't sleeping or at work, I was here. Both before and after work.
Yeah.
Which sucked.
Same.
But at least I got to tear out a wall. That was fun with the sledgehammer.
Take out some pent-up aggression.
It was rotted through. But, yeah. I can't afford that. And it sucks. And there are people who have told me that because I'm not willing to work super overtime, that because I'm not willing to find a way, some of them have even told me to consider, prostitution. Not OnlyFans, which I already have, but actual prostitution. Yeah, they're if you're not really trying to get rid of the hair, trying to get bottom surgery, then you're not really trans. You're just a guy that wants to look and be thought of as a woman.
I was what do you... What?
Exactly. It's no, I'm not.
It's that there's 2 or 3 absurdities in that sentence alone. Another thing that, to kind of piggyback off of that bothers me, especially about the True Scum and the TransMeds, is they're super mad about people without dysphoria stealing all the resources from real trans people. But when people are I'm not gonna use any resources because I've decided not to seek medical transition for one reason or another. They hate that too. It's like, that should be a win-win for you guys. If you're so worried about your precious, precious resources. And, like, I'll say, like, there are some places where that is a concern. Like, UK, that's a big concern of, like, people need to get into the doctors, get on HRT, and there's so many hoops to jump through.
But that isn't the fault of trans people with low dysphoria. They are a victim as well. That is the fault of the medical system. That is a fault of the fact that people are actively trying to keep that system in place and make it even more difficult. Because the more hoops that trans people have to jump through, the less visible trans people are. And people don't want to see trans people because they are stupid and they suck. So, yeah.
And it's annoying when, like, these expectations are coming from cis people, from whatever religious institutions or government institutions or what have you. But it's like another level of both annoying and despairing when it comes from people who are supposed to be on your side. And I've been thankful personally, like, not to have to deal with many people like that. Mostly because my online presence is, like, mainly reblogging goofy things on Tumblr or making, like, stupid comments on Reddit. I don't... Like, these streams are the most I've talked about myself online. Ever. Exactly. The other trans people should get it. They should understand a bit better.
Right?
What, like, it can be really hard. And, I honestly don't... I'm not mad at anybody who has an easier time of being trans than I did. Because I had a hard time a lot of the time. I still do sometimes. And I don't envy people who have to, you know, go through it, like, especially even worse than I did. And... Exactly, the exclusive happy channel. I like talking about myself, I just don't.
I do love that.
But, I don't understand why people want to beat them down if they have an easier time. Like,
exactly.
This should be the goal. That should be the goal of being, oh, I'm trans, cool. That not, I'm trans, oh no, oh god.
Yeah.
Like, that's not fun. That's not great. It's nice when you have a good experience with being yourself.
And I've had people actually say to me, and a few of them have been cisgender LGBT individuals, or, well, LGB individuals, because they weren't trans. But, yeah, queer folk. And they have said to me, well, you know, what if a person comes up and starts saying, oh, I feel like, you know, I want to be a girl, and this person is a AMAB individual. And they start talking about wanting to dress in women's clothing and all this other stuff. Oh, all you transgenders would force them to go and get HRT and get their penis lopped off and get breast augmentation. And it's like, no, one, none of us can force them into that. Because, like, honey, you're treating us a lot richer than we are. Like, no.
Most of us are at least some level of broke.
Yeah.
And the ones that aren't are Caitlyn Jenner.
Right.
Speaking of transphobia inside the trans community.
And, right. And on top of that, like, if I had a son, and he came up to me and told me all this, that isn't my response. My response isn't even to say that he's a girl. My response is to say, okay, do you want me to use female pronouns for you? Do you want me to use she, her? How do you want me to do this thing? It's up to them. And on top of that, get this cool freaking idea, amazing, radiant idea, especially for you quote-unquote feminists. A guy exploring his femininity, or a girl exploring her masculinity, helps break down the gender binary. It helps us both understand the other side, and it helps us come together.
So maybe the certain types of guys will stop treating women like they're an entirely separate species if they understand a bit more about what women A go through and B how they think. Because the truth is, it's not that different from guys. Like, I've exactly, go away gender binary. Like, I have I'm what I kind of jokingly term myself kind of a bad trans, in that I refer to my time before being out as when I was a girl.
In the before for.
In the before for. And because I experienced, like, that was my experiences, why my internal was different. My external, like, how I dealt with the world and how the world affected me was all very, like, through the lens of people viewing me as a woman or as a girl. And so a lot of my experiences as a teen, as a young adult, all of that were a woman's experiences. But I was still a guy. I just didn't know it yet.
Yeah.
But I still use the term, like, when I was a girl, or when I was a woman, because, like, to me, that distinction matters. A lot of people don't use that language, and a lot of people really hate that language, and that's fine. They can do what they want. They can think how they want. They can...
yeah, especially since you're using it to refer to yourself,
right.
Not them.
Right. Like, gender is an intensely personal experience.
It is.
And that's a thing that gets me about a lot of transphobes, and especially about the TransMeds, is they take their own experiences and they assume everyone has to do it like that, when that is patently false. Just humanity in general, like, we are more similar than we are different, like, across the board, but we are also all intensely individuals. Like, that's the curse of having the kind of brain that we do. Is we don't work as a collective usually. Like, and when people try to work as a collective, it doesn't always go right. Because people who try to, like, I swear this is not a knock on communism or anything. That's not what I mean. I mean, like, when people try to, how do I phrase it? Like, sorry, my brain is trying to run through several different permutations of things all at once, and it just ends up an existential scream. But, when people deny that individuality, when, like, the powers that be deny everybody their individuality, then, like, everything is gonna fall apart. Because, like, we can work as a team, but each person in that team has to also self-actualize. And, transphobes and TERFs and TransMeds are operating on this theory of mind that we all have to experience gender or whatever exactly how they experienced it.
Which is stupid.
It's low empathy, low sympathy, and low, like, intellect. It's not very intellectually, like, honest, or it's not very reasoned at all. Like,
it's illogical.
Yeah, because everybody has a different, like, we're all different people. Like, we've all got different personalities. There'll be some people who are, like, very similar, but we've all got our differences.
Right?
And acknowledging that shouldn't be difficult. It shouldn't be a rude thing to do. It shouldn't be like it shouldn't be as hard as it is, just in general. And for me, it like highlights like just the lack of curiosity about other people's experiences. Because like I've fallen into this a few times myself, because like I'm an autistic individual, so sometimes empathy doesn't exactly work the same way for me as it does for other people. I have a lot of empathy. I have very intense empathy, but I have a problem with sometimes I misattribute the empathy. I like label the information I'm getting with the wrong label. And so I've, especially as a child, like, it was very hard for me to put myself in the mind of somebody else. And figure out exactly what they were thinking, why they were thinking that. I eventually kind of figured it out. And I still have problems because human, I'm always going to have those problems.
Wait, you're human? I can't be around you.
Only mostly. I think I've got some fairy blood in there somewhere.
I mean...
Just, you can choose how you spell fairy.
I just gave them a little waggle. A little razzle dazzle.
Oh, razzle dazzle.
Yeah, to continue on from that, everyone is different. We are unique. We are human. And to deny people the ability to explore and express their gender however they damn well please is in and of itself transphobic. By forcing regular gender binary on individuals, you prevent them from being able to express any kind of uniqueness. A good example... Sorry, my lips are super dry and it is really annoying. A good example is a lot of men simply cannot experience and express any kind of feminine traits, because to do so loses them the respect of other men. And that sucks.
And over time, sometimes what is counted as feminine and what is masculine gets more and more and more restrictive.
Yep. And it flips a lot. What is masculine and what is feminine changes greatly from generation to generation. And an example, I used to be like a guy's guy. I've had, back before I started transition, a lot of men tell me that they wish they were like me. Because I was that stoic, quiet, giant, muscly guy who weighed over 300 freaking pounds and could literally just, you're in my way, drop.
Kind of like the running gag of the Winter Soldier walk. Think like walk like you've been sent to kill Captain America.
Yeah. Yeah, whenever I walked through Walmart, or crowds, really, people would just move. I don't miss it. I mean, I kind of do, because people talk to me. I hate that.
I don't think has anybody tried to do the, like, put their hand on your lower back to, like, excuse me?
Only once.
Do they keep the hand?
Only once. I still got that training. It just, I don't control it. It's like, oh, someone I don't know is touching my back.
Against the wall.
Against the wall or on the floor, your choice. Well, it's not your choice. You're going wherever I put you, but
depending on what's closer.
But yeah, I used to be that guy's guy, you know? And before I started openly pursuing transition, I just framed it as, oh, I'm getting in touch with my feminine side. And the amount of visceral dislike for me was immense. I hear a lot of stuff because I am outside of the trans server in my Twitch. I am very quiet. Like, very quiet.
Not in a submissive sense, but in a just doesn't like to talk sense.
Yeah.
Because talking means you have to interact with people.
Right? There are times during my 12-plus hour shifts where, except for talking to patients to help them feel comfortable and get the info I need, and talking to my coworkers to trade info, I literally don't talk at all. I don't make small talk. I don't do all this other stuff. I'm just a quiet person. I saw that little head nod. I love you.
I love you too.
But I hear things because I'm so quiet. No one expects me to be around. And I have heard people, after I started telling people that I'm just getting in touch with my feminine side, whenever I first started transition, and I didn't tell anyone I'm on HRT or anything yet, I heard them say some pretty messed up stuff. Like, hateful things. And the only thing that had changed about me was I had made the comment, I'm trying to get in touch with my feminine side. That's it. And I had started coming to work slightly more feminine. I had started appearing slightly more feminine. These issues of forcing gender stuff onto people isn't just a trans issue. It is transphobia blatantly because it encourages hatred against us. Because so many of us fit within the binary, and we actively use a lot of this gendered sexist stuff to protect ourselves. But it hurts women, and it hurts men. And what I mean by we use that sexist stuff to protect ourselves, I know guys are going to look at my boobs. So, whenever I am particularly self-conscious about my arm hair or my stubble, I will wear my bra and stuff in a way to better accentuate my boobs. Because it keeps them from looking at my facial hair, it keeps them from looking at my arm hair. It makes them a lot easier to talk to because they're not paying as much attention because, oh, boobs. And it's helpful. It helps protect me. It helps keep me safe. It helps me stay comfortable in public. Because it only takes one person being in public for them to say, oh, you're a trans person, aren't you? For me to get followed to my car. To get kicked out of a bathroom, for all kinds of other stuff, which I've been out for less than a year, and that has happened, and it's been scary, and it has terrified the frick out of me.
Oh, before I forget, because that kind of reminded me, I'm going to put the hatchet back in your car.
Thank you.
Mine.
I like my hatchet. Hi, and my machete. And my gun, but I can't bring that places. Hi. Anyway, yeah, we do operate within the binary, and so many of us will use a lot of this sexist and gendered stereotypes to actively protect ourselves. Just like I know a lot of other women do. I have learned tricks from women that I work with to use sexist ideas and stereotypes to protect myself. Example is, because I was followed to my car once, and a lot of women at work took me to the side to check on me, to make sure I was okay. I felt so freaking good being part of a community that actually respected me. And they started giving me tips and tricks. Some of them offered me mace, like all this other stuff. And some of their, things were, hey, here's a thing, it's really sexist, but you can use this to help keep yourself safe. Like, if a guy, starts being creepy, starts doing all this other stuff, you can rely on those sexist stereotypes to get him to calm down a little bit and give yourself an opening to actively defend yourself. To attack him and to leave marks on him. And to hopefully drive him away. It's not just a trans issue. And guys do it too. I remember being a guy, living as a guy, and actively doing masculine stereotypes, not because I wanted to, not because I like them, but to keep myself safe.
Or to keep me safe because I am extremely oblivious. And I won't notice if someone's following me around. Because I've dissociated so hard that I am in Narnia while my body continues to look at the fabric section at Walmart.
Yeah. I love you.
I love you too.
Yeah, that's happened too. Oh, god dang it.
Why? They immediately hung up, so... I think.
Next time they answer, let's speakerphone and play with them on chat. But yeah, like, transphobia exists everywhere, and it sucks. But actively trying to enforce gender roles, actively trying to tell us that if you don't have dysphoria, if you don't have all this other stuff, you can't be trans, that goes against the future. It goes against logic. My ideal world is a world where I can have children, and those children don't have to come out to me or anyone else. My child can walk out the door in trousers and a button-down and a baseball cap, and can come home that day wearing a skirt and a blouse and their hair up in a ponytail, and my only response is, oh, that's a nice blouse, where'd you get it, or who are you borrowing it from? And they can explore whatever part of themselves they want as long as it's safely. And they can express whatever parts of themselves they want as long as it's safely. And I will love them, and that's it. That's the end of it. That's all they need to do is be safe. Because there's nothing wrong with a feminine man, a masculine woman. I can be the big buff Valkyrie to my girlfriend's petiteness. I can lift people up and carry them around like it's nothing and kick my way through a door because it's fun. It's fun. Hi.
And then the same day be wearing a cutesy sundress.
Yeah, I can do that. And there's nothing wrong with it. We've gone on a lot of different...
It's a very twisted web we weave.
It is a twisted web.
But
any closing statements or any other tangents you want to go off on?
I guess my own thing of I as a trans guy still have a lot of feminine attributes and traits, and a lot of feminine hobbies. Though they are also supplemented by more masculine hobbies now because I feel free to do so. Previously, living as a woman, I did not feel free to have all these masculine stuff, but I knit, I sew, I cook, I clean, I garden sometimes, and every time I'm doing a more feminine type hobby, or again, given value of feminine, none of these things are inherently feminine. And in fact, knitting used to be seen as a very masculine thing to do because people in the army all knew how to knit. And so. Because that was important. You were getting shot. Your stuff was getting all ripped. You needed to be able to fix it.
Mm-hmm.
But every time I'm doing those types of hobbies or whatever, I'm thinking, some TERF would be having a field day with this.
Right?
As I continue darning my, pants or whatever.
I think about that a lot whenever I work out. If some TERF came in here, saw me walking around in my boots and jeans and, lifting up the lawnmower because I'm too lazy to try and get it over this stuff, so I'm just okay, here we go. They'd be having a freaking field day with it. Maya, do not attack Anna.
She's making sure Anna is asleep while she goes and sits there.
Okay.
Our two girl cats don't really get along.
Maya, are you okay?
Are you high? Did you get into the catnip again?
Shh. My jeans will have holes and I will be covered in leather and spikes. Mostly because I'm a porcupine and I'm afraid.
And spikes are just fun.
Right. And contrary to what I put out there, I do like fighting and wrestling. I mean, okay, I really like wrestling, but, like, I don't like violence. And so, like, one of my big things has always been I can just push someone down and sit on them, or I can just hold them until they stop. And that has been my go-to since I was a teenager. Which, by the way, best way to take down a bully is literally to hug them and then to just swing them slowly back and forth while they scream at you and threaten at you and tell you how they're gonna beat you up. While you're just like, hey, man, it's gonna be okay. You're gonna be okay, dude. I got you, dude. And you just keep at it until a teacher shows up, and then you just flop and just let them sprawl onto the floor.
A smaller jerk face can be dissuaded by starting to laugh maniacally as you start to go up and square up. And then they're like, oh, okay, this mother sucker is crazy. Bye!
I laugh when I'm nervous.
She goes into every fight assuming she's going to lose, but that she is going to have fun while she's losing.
It's not... Okay, here's my thing. Side tangent.
Side tangent on our tangent on our tangent.
I if I'm gonna get into a fight, if there's some kind of altercation going on, you know, some violence is involved, I go in assuming I'm going to lose, I might die, and I'm probably gonna suffer significant bodily injury. My goal to win a fight is not to kill the other person. Hopefully not. I don't ever want to kill someone. It is not to, you know, cause them as much bodily harm as possible. It's not to, oh, look at me, I'm so much more powerful and stronger than you, some kind of dick measuring contest. That's not it. For me to consider a fight won, in my case, is will this person ever attack me again willingly? If that answer is yes, I lost. If that answer is no, I've won. If I've given them good enough reason that from now on they will be diplomatic and they will choose to talk to me first because they don't want to fight me, even if they beat the living crap out of me, I won. Period.
What this translates to externally, as opposed to internally, and what she's thinking, is she starts laughing maniacally, has a glint in her eye that promises, oh, you're not gonna come after me next time, mother sucker. And most reasonable people are going to be like, I should rethink this.
I laugh because I'm nervous. I'm not some big badass. I just laugh because I'm nervous.
And then everybody has been mistaking it for years. And it's great. And I love it.
Fuck off. We've gone off on so many tangents. Okay, so transmedicalists and true scum, anyone that forces gender binary, anyone that says you can't be trans unless you have dysphoria, unless you choose to get bottom surgery, top surgery, anything else, that's just straight transphobic. It's also pretty sexist and just really illogical.
The only thing you need to be trans is be like, I don't think I'm 100% vibing with my assigned gender at birth.
That's it. That's all you need. And you know what? It's okay. And I've said this on the server because we did have a member come in who was afraid of this. It's okay if you think you're trans and you explore yourself, find things out, and all this other stuff, and then you decide to transition or you decide not to. And it's okay to explore yourself and realize you're not trans. There's nothing wrong with that. I have nothing against anyone who, you know, doesn't do a lot of stuff, who decides, you know what, I'm a trans man, but I'm not going to transition for various reasons. I'm not going to do this or that. Like, you're good. I got you. You're my homie, and I love you. You are a manly man. Even if you're a super feminine man. Like, you're cool. You got this. You're
It's
gonna be
what's on
good.
the inside that counts.
All right.
Your Taco Bell.
I mean, it's better than what was going through my mind. Hi.
Okay, I made one off-color joke, and you have made several, ma'am.
Yeah. But see, here's the difference. I'm a queen.
Not inaccurate.
It's okay to just explore yourself, figure out who you are, and go from there. And, you know, we actually have had people join our server who have said, hey, I've been on the server for a while, I've talked to people, I've listened to people, I've done some exploring, I think I'm just a feminine man, and I don't think I'm trans. But I like this place, is it okay if I stay? And the fact that they would even ask that is kind of sad. Like, of course. Like, bro, I want there to be more accepting feminine cis men. I want there to be more accepting masculine cis women. Like, it's okay. I love you guys. I want y'all to see people like that. I want you to feel connected and to have a home. And it's okay to be whoever you are. Express your gender in your way. No one gets to tell you otherwise, and if they do, we'll beat them up, and I'll toss them into a river. Because I can probably bench press them. I don't look it. I am over, well, I used to be over 200 pounds. I'm trying to get less. But, like, I can probably do more push-ups than them. I mean, my muscle is a lot less defined now. I'm not going to flex much because I don't want to mess up my shirt, but yeah.
Still got them, though.
They're a lot smaller. Like, there's no definition unless I flex anymore. What?
They still exist, my friend.
Yeah, but, like, you used to be able to see my muscles without me flexing. Hi.
Compliments. Smack.
Just be who you want to be, and it's gonna be okay. I got your back. We're moving to a brighter future, I promise. I love each and every one of you. And so long as I'm breathing, you're gonna have an ally. And it's really hard to kill me.
And, she, like Jason she is.
Cars, lie, soap, accidental ingesting of bleach, stabbed, impaled. I'll stop. I love you.
The ocean trying to murder you.
Oh yeah, I got wiped out. I got swept out into the sea for a little bit.
Things keep trying to kill her. But don't let jerks keep you down or tell you who you are, even if the jerks are coming from inside the house. They're just... They should just need to get out of your house.
Okay. Well, I love you all. Y'all are amazing and incredible. And I hope y'all have a wonderful rest of your day. I look forward to seeing... There we go. It's a heart. It's supposed to be a heart. Wait, what's that one thing?
The, like...
Yeah, that thing.
I'd always do the crossed fingers because I forget. The K-pop heart.
K-pop heart. Something. I'm a boomer still. I say as I'm 26. If you'd like to join the trans subreddit, you can message me on here, Instagram, Discord, or any of my social media. If you'd like to support the tran, if you'd like to support me, what I do, and me growing things and getting them better, please feel free to donate on Patreon. You can find a link to that in both my YouTube description, on the trans server, in my Twitch description. I'm going to try and get my Twitch and my Patreon linked up, though I can get submissions and stuff like that soon.
We also have a trend Tumblr. It's mostly just me reblogging crazy, weird stuff that Tumblr is known for.
And shitposting. Where are you wet?
She probably stuck her head in the water fountain again. These cats don't know how to drink water.
Yeah. They're feral, or at least she was whenever she followed me home. I'm like a freaking Disney princess. Gwen says she loves you, Abs.
Or I can't. I'm holding another thing. Half heart.
Well,
Half heart.
they. Gwen, what are your pronouns currently? I know you've been experimenting a bit. I just love you and want to be respectful to you.
As we're just gonna pet the cat.
You're right. Oh, hello.
Oh, baby.
Oh. But yeah, I love you all. If you want to support what we do, please check out the Tumblr, check out the Patreon. We are working on... They? Okay. Awesome. We love you. You're awesome. They're fucking cool.
K-pop heart.
K-pop heart. We are working on getting a store launched, so look forward to that being launched sometime in the next month. And I just got enough money on the Patreon to get a second monitor, so with my next paycheck, I'm going to see about getting that. Because, yeah.
That would be cool.
Right? And I want to make sure that, like, all the money on my Patreon can go directly towards supporting the Twitch channel and the trans server. So, yeah. I want to make sure that, like, oh, I'm going to buy a monitor. I'm going to use some of my own income to supplement what I get on Patreon. Because I don't want y'all to be the only ones footing that. Yeah, I love you. Y'all are amazing, and I'll see y'all around.